The number one challenge in any business is generally people. It always seems to be people management, the highs and the lows, the stresses that come with managing people. We're all human beings. Everyone's different. Everyone has different lives, different challenges, different things that are going on. And we need people to be able to run a business. So it's something that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So today's episode is going to be me talking about how I, over the last 18 years, have dealt with people in the right way and quite often the wrong way. But I believe having a good, strong company culture is the number one competitive advantage that you can have over any other business in your local area. Now, I know this to be true because I've had bad cultures in my business and I've had good. And at present, we have got the best team we've ever had. We have got a good company culture and our business is performing the best it's ever have been. And I don't think that's any coincidence at all. Now, it's not perfect. We still have our challenges. We still have our people challenges, but we don't have to worry about putting people on long management courses because we have a good culture. And once you get the company culture right in a business, everything works better. You know, we are a team of human beings that work together to be able to solve problems for our clients. And that is the number one thing that we need to be doing is solving problems for our clients, being safe while we do so, delivering high quality tree work. And if our team are all firing on all cylinders and they want to come to work, they enjoy the place they work, they are going to turn up more often than not. They're going to be on time, hopefully most of the time, not all the time. We still have people who've been late. I'm not saying our company's perfect at all. They're going to deliver a good job. They're going to deliver good quality customer service. And in turn, your business is going to become better and better. Now, when I started 18 years ago, my backstory to this was that I'd worked for many different people. I'd worked in some offices from the age of 16, decided I didn't want to be in an office. By the time I was 20, became a tree surgeon, then worked for a few different companies. And throughout my time from being 16 to starting my own business when I was 24, I had some good bosses. My first boss, Kevin, was brilliant. He understood how to treat people. And that really set the tone for me in my work life. And then I had some terrible bosses. In sales, I had some terrible bosses. In the ARB industry, I had terrible bosses. Every time something went wrong, you made a simple mistake, you'd get shouted, screamed at. I've been squared up to. All those kind of things where you think, well, I'm going to work. This is my work. Why am I being treated like this? So when I started HRG, I had one of my main things. Yes, I wanted to earn more money. I wanted time freedom, which took a long time to get, by the way. But I also knew I wanted to run a business that's looked after its people. I have a human-to-human approach. It's always been one of my number one goals to run a good company because at the end of the day, I spend more time at work with the people at work than I probably do with other people outside of work. So if I'm going to be doing that, I want to like the people that are around me and I want to be able to enjoy it. And for me to be able to enjoy it, that means that we've got a good team and everyone works together. So I did this, but to start off with, I did it slightly wrong way. It wasn't completely wrong because it served us to be able to grow and scale a company. And people always say, Henry, how did you scale a company from age of 24 to 30, from nothing, from a 15 grand loan to a 7-figure business with 47 staff? But one of the main things I did, because I didn't understand numbers and self-development and all that kind of stuff then, I looked after people. And so that served me for a while. But there did become a time where I was too nice. And one of the things that I want to make really clear is that when you are a good boss, it doesn't mean that you're just really nice all the time. Yes, you will have to deliver feedback to people. People can't progress if they don't know what they might be doing wrong or not doing wrong. It doesn't mean you have to shout and scream. It doesn't mean you have to be rude or obnoxious or horrible when you're delivering feedback. There's certain ways to do it, which I'll talk about shortly. The way I did it start off with is I just became everyone's friend. I actually employed friends, which is a massive no-no to me. Friends, I love my friends dearly, and employing friends is a massive no-no. I love my friends dearly. I've got a good set of friends, but I have made mistakes over the time of employing friends. And generally what friends tend to do is going to be like, oh, it's all right, Henry won't mind because he's sound, and he won't mind if I dart off early or be a bit late today because he's sound. And then when you do have to deliver feedback to a friend, there's a lot more emotion, a lot more stressful. So for me, friendship doesn't work in business, but that doesn't mean I've made friends through business. Generally, when people have come in and I've made friends with them, there is always that working relationship there. But what I did, especially in the early days, is we used to go out and drink, have a beer every Friday after work. We used to go out at weekends. Actually now I've got some really good lifelong friends that I've met through that have worked for me. Most of them don't work for me anymore, but I've got people like Mike, who's worked for me the last 15, 16 years. He's a close friend. They still respect me as a boss when they're working for me, and then they become friends after they leave, and we still meet up for wings and having a beer occasionally and being able to catch up. So what I did through that time is I became everyone's friend. and I was too nice, and we grew the business. But what that meant is I got known in the area for being a good boss. A lot of other business owners in my area didn't like it. I actually had a angry phone call from another tree surgeon saying that I treat my staff too well and I need to treat them as workers. They're just workers. They're basically, that they're going out making you money, and that's the way you treat them. You don't treat them any other way. They're there to make you money, which I agree with the ethos behind it, but I don't see them as workers. They're human beings. We're all human beings, and we're all on this planet to try and do one thing, and that is try and have a good life, to be able to spend time with family and experience the world for what it is. So I believe there's a slightly different angle with that. I want to be able to look after people. I want to be able to understand what makes them tick, how they are, what's going on in their personal lives. Is that going to affect them inside work? Because if they've got something going on, I'm going to give them a bit of a wide berth and look out for them and maybe check in on them a bit more. So through this time, some people didn't like me for being a good boss. And what I probably did is I was too nice. I didn't ever really deliver feedback that well because I was too nice, essentially. And I want to be a good boss, but it doesn't mean you have to just always just be uplifting for everyone, because you've got to build company morale. Company morale is really important. But you do need to feed back. And I used to have this thing where people would leave, or I'd let people go, whatever which way round it is, and they'd leave and they'd go and work for one of my competitors, who I know quite a few different people in my area. And I'd speak to them and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's doing amazing." And I think to myself, why wasn't he doing that for me? And then I suddenly started to learn. Once went through my challenges with the business and I started learning about people management, I started to realize that, okay, the penny dropped. I'm not giving people feedback. I'm not actually pulling someone aside when they're frustrating me, or they're not doing what they're doing, and going, by the way, this is how we do things around here, or are you okay? What's going on at home, etc. And then managing them, maybe getting them more training, investing in them more, working out what makes them tick, etc. I was a bit too nice. And actually, I know I got it wrong massively. After we had our challenges with the business back in 2019, I actually had the same guy phone me up and say, "Henri, I told you, you can't run our business with being that nice to your team." And for a while, and this is where negative beliefs and self-beliefs are really important, to not let what other people's opinions and views get into your head, because the most important thing is that you stand by your values and who you are, and you don't let people affect that too much. Yes, learn, be inspired by different people, but don't let other people's negative feelings get into your head. And for a time, in 2019, for a good couple of years, I got in my head that I couldn't be a good boss. I had to be hard. I had to be firm on people. I had to not connect with them. And for those couple of years, I didn't enjoy running a business. Yes, I was pulling myself from a deep, dark place. But at the same time, I didn't enjoy it at all. And actually, we do a staff survey every quarter where we ask 5 key questions, and it's about what support they get, the tools, the morale. And before this, we used to score like 8% above, which would make me know that, okay, we're looking after our team, they've got everything they need, and there's a really good company morale. It dropped down to like under 30% for a while. I'd stepped back from the business a bit more. I pulled in more management. I wasn't training my managers as well. There's them being passed down to my team. The connection with the team had completely gone. And then, of course, what starts happening? Kit's breaking. People are late. People are off sick a lot. Clients aren't getting served. And then it's just a snowball effect of your business not performing the way it should, because we're not looking after our teams well enough. So I then went through a stage 3 years ago where we then rebuilt the management team again. And then I started to realize, and I started to learn more about culture, and I started to realize that actually I had these really negative self-beliefs that had come in. Actually, my mentor is really good at calling these out. And that's why a mentor is really good sometimes, because they'll call out what's in your blind spots. You'll say something, you go, "Hang on a minute, can I just check you there? Is that correct?" And I've started to realize that actually I can be a good boss. I can be kind to my team. I can be firm, assertive, need to be able to pull people to one side and be able to talk to them and help them. We had it with a guy who was really struggling. He was one of our best guys, and he started struggling. And I find out that, he's splitting up from his girlfriend that he'd been with for many years. He was having to move out of his flat. As soon as we have that conversation, you start to understand. You give him a wide berth. Do you need a day off? What do you need? People with mental health problems. People don't just turn up to work and think, "I'm going to be shit today." And then they turn up, they're late and they're shit. Generally, there's some other stuff going on. And that's when you start to understand what makes people tick. And that's what I call the human to human approach. And we've done this for the last 3 years. And that's why I say we've gone from challenging places with our culture, and now we're in really good places now. As I say, it's not perfect, but we did we do every 6 months, we do a safety stand down day. It took me a while to do this a couple of years ago, but then I realized because the first thought as a business owner is if I take 20 guys off the tools for a day, we're going to lose a lot of money. But actually, when you think about taking 20 guys off the tools for a day, you do some aerial rescue training, some mute rescue training. We had a barbecue in the afternoon. Plus, in that day, I did all the appraisals. So I did 16 people's appraisals in one day, back to back. It was a longer day for me than it probably was for them. But it meant that I got every year, I get to be able to speak to our guys and be able to talk to them about what's going well in their job, what they've done well in their job in the last 12 months, what challenges they've found and what they're looking to do in the future and how we can at HRG give people careers and keep them moving a job. I went through that day. Before that day, I get all the stats of the company, who's late, who's off sick, and, feedback from my main manager, Mike. Plus what I do is I get everybody to fill in a questionnaire before they come. So we've got some good things to be able to talk about. And there's 3 questions on there. How do you feel you're supported right now in your business, in the business? How do you feel the company morale is in the company? And do you feel you have all the right equipment, tools to be able to do your job? Out of that, we didn't have any 3s. It's out of 5. They were all 4s, some 4s and mostly 5s. And that showed to me where we are now as a company about how everyone feels about HRG and being and working here. And that's come from how we look after our teams. As I say, it's not perfect. I can definitely say I'm not going to sit here and tell you our culture is perfect, but one thing is we don't put up with what I call dickheads in the company. And we don't, what I see a lot of people in this industry do is because we're in such need of staff, they will put up with people who are disruptive or maybe not share the same values, who turn up late, don't turn up at all, etc. And then they put up with that. And then the rest of the team are looking going, well, Henry's putting up with that. So, it's probably all right that I act like that then, or be like that. And people that are sat on the fence morale, I was going, well, why is he putting up with that? Okay, well, what's going on there? So the other thing that we've found is that we had some guys that had no sick days last year. We had a handful of guys that had 1 sick day and 2, but we had no one apart from 2 guys who had injuries outside of work through motocross and football. No one had more than 4 days off in 12-month period out of 17 operational guys going out, which 3 years ago, those numbers were through the roof. People having Mondays off, Fridays off, random days off the week, because people wake up in the morning and go, I just can't be bothered today. But when you get a good team culture, the amazing thing that happens is that people turn up more. People want to be part of the team. Jobs get done at the end of the day rather than thinking, oh, sod it, we'll just do it tomorrow when there's an extra half-hour cleanup to do. One of the main things is that the customers get served. We put guys through team leader training, but we've never put guys through customer service training. And if you look at our reviews, if you look up HRG Tree Surgeons and look at our reviews, how we look after our clients, that is just done through the fact that we have this human-to-human approach, that we have a motto where I'll look after you whilst you're working for HRG and you look after me. And looking after me is to be able to be committed, turn up, do a great job, look after our clients, solve problems, and we all work together collectively. If we all work collectively, the business performs well. And I know there's old school managers out there, and there's probably people still listening to this going, what a load of shit. Like I'm still gonna dig into one of my guys if they do something wrong. I'm still gonna charge them if they break something. It doesn't work. Well, I can tell you it does. It does. Financially, it works. As a client retention, it works. Like, even if you don't want to be this kind of nice boss, it just makes sense to be doing it. Like the age old thing of like their thanks every week is their paycheck. Like that's gone. Like if you look at it, like even I'm a big football fan. If you look at Alex Ferguson, the hairdryer treatment, that used to work back then. Like unbelievable football manager. But look at Pep Guardiola now, one of the best football managers in our era. And look at him on the sideline. He's got his arm around players. He's more man management, one-to-one, getting to know the guys, getting the best out of it. Whether you like it or not, human beings have got a lot less harder and there's been a lot more softer, especially when you see the younger guys coming through and generation. I'm 42, so even generations younger than me. Different management styles, different ways to look after people. It is not shouting and screaming. It's not kicking stuff around the yard when stuff goes wrong. Those days are gone. So this is my message to the industry, whether you want to listen to it or not. I want a better industry for us all. I want to see pay wages scales go up. I want to be able to see more people being attracted into this industry so we're not having this constant labor problem. And to be able to do that If we start creating more companies that have a human to human, people centric ethos, you will find that more people want to become tree surgeons. It's not about people having a free for all. It's not about letting people do what they want. There's standards that need to be met. There's values that we work towards. There are expectations we want. But it's about having a company that all works together. And we could see that. When we did our stand down day of the week, we then had a barbecue in the afternoon. Everyone stayed for a barbecue and we had a great afternoon. Everyone had a good crack. And then Monday, straight away, we're back out and things work well. So team culture, company culture, if you don't understand, if you don't know it, go and research it, go and look at it and think about, how do you treat your staff? When stuff goes wrong in someone's life, do you try and help them out or do you kick off of them? If someone's struggling from mental health problems, do you just go man up and get on with it? Or do you signpost them to be able to go and speak to someone? Do you have something that you, some way of possibly being able to help them? When someone, loses a family member or is having a baby, do you give them some time off? Do you help them out with that kind of stuff? If someone injures themselves, how do you treat it? How do you treat someone? When someone breaks something, how do you treat them? Because if you're charging people for stuff, and I know a lot of people do, and everyone charges them, we don't, because then if we charge people, the fear comes in and then you can't learn from it. Everything's a learning opportunity. My ethos on Fail Forward. If something goes wrong, what went wrong? How do we solve it? How do we work it out? So having a great company culture, I can assure you, will help your business. It will help being able to keep people together. You'll find that people want to stay with you longer. You're not having to pay more training costs. You're not having to recruit more. You're not got a revolving door of people. So it just makes sense to have a good company culture. My name's Henri Guyburn. I'm the owner of HRG Tree Surgeons and the Business Academy and also the Tree Surgeons Mastermind. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and there'll be plenty more episodes like this. Cheers, guys.